Hello everybody, this is Nathan and this is my take. And if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I only do two kinds of videos. Talking about Nebraska and bashing FSU. I'm not a big fan of FSU. I'm not a big fan of Jameis Winston, not a fan of Jimbo Fisher, not a fan of how he allows players to get away with criminal actions and they have absolutely no consequences for their actions at all. Not a fan at all. I have no respect for FSU off the field. However, I have all the respect in the world for FSU on the field. Here's something that you might not expect me to say. FSU should be the #1 team in the country when the college football playoff poll comes out on Tuesday. Now, the arguments against Florida State being #1 are just silly. They don't look good in their wins. They don't look dominant. They don't have as tough a schedule as other teams. Excuse me. Let's look at they don't look dominant in their wins or they don't look good in their wins. Who the hell cares? I may be a bit old-fashioned in my way of thinking, but I've always considered an ugly win to be a million times better than a good-looking loss. An ugly win against an inferior opponent is still better than a good-looking win, than a good-looking loss. Call me old-fashioned if you want, but that's always the way I've looked at sports. You win. That's the only thing that matters. Win the games put in front of you. You can't always control the quality of opponents that you face. And look, and let's give FSU some credit here. They scheduled Oklahoma State as the first game of their season. They didn't know Oklahoma State was going to go in the tank the way they did. That was a quality team that they scheduled out of conference. They played Notre Dame. When they put Notre Dame, well, they didn't put Notre Dame on the schedule because Notre Dame plays in the ACC now. But that was a quality out of conference win. Nobody knew Notre Dame was going to tank the way they did. But look, people, Florida State wins, and they've been winning with alarming regularity when everyone has counted them out this season. All right, when they struggled against Oklahoma State, Clemson, and NC State, everyone wrote Florida State off. Then they struggled against Notre Dame. Then they struggled against Louisville and Miami and Boston College and Florida. But guess what? They've won all those games. They've done what Alabama, Oregon, TCU, Baylor, Ohio State, all these other teams vying for the playoff spots have not done. And that's win all their games. All right, you can talk to me as much as you want about how bad they look in their wins. But that's just it. They look bad in wins. Whereas Alabama and Oregon looked good in losses. That's the only stat that matters. Throw out all the stats. What's the only one at the end of the day that really matters? What's the most important stat? That's right, your wins and your losses. That's the most important thing in any sport. That's why I think it's bullcrap that an undefeated Marshall team couldn't even get any consideration at all for college football playoffs. Another reason why we need to go to 8 teams. But that's neither here nor there. Until Florida State loses, they deserve that top spot. And I love every single week. The trendy pick is whoever is playing against Florida State. Because the conventional wisdom seems to be that with all the struggles Florida State has, the shoe has to drop eventually. Someone's going to beat them because they've been playing so badly, so consistently, and needed so many miracles to end up winning the games. But I'm looking at their schedule. They have no losses. I don't know how many times I'm going to have to say that. They have no losses. And until they get that loss, I think it's more than reasonable to think that Florida State has earned that #1 ranking. They've more than earned that #1 ranking. Argue with me all you want. Argue with me, Alabama fan. Argue with me, Oregon fan. Did you guys win all your games? Did you guys win all your games? No, you didn't. The only team right now that has is Florida State, and they get absolutely no love. I get hating the program for its off-the-field antics. I get that. I'm not a fan of FSU, like I said. But separate that from the on-the-field performance of this football team, and there's no denying that Florida State has been incredibly impressive. Not as impressive as last year, but incredibly impressive in order to come back and win close bowl games, be down big, and come back to win. That's impressive. And it's not like they don't have any quality wins. They beat Clemson, a team that just beat South Carolina and is trending upwards. They beat Louisville, again another team that won this last weekend that's trending upwards. And they're going to play Georgia Tech in the ACC Championship, a team that just managed to beat number 9 Georgia. So if they win that game, that's 3 wins over currently ranked teams in the top 25. Don't tell me that's not impressive. That is still damn impressive. All right? So, Florida State. Florida State deserves to be number 1. I don't like Florida State. Most of the country doesn't like Florida State. But that doesn't matter because they've earned that right. I'm Nathan, and this has been my take. You have a good one.